What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and Dragon Age the Veilguard has been out for a couple of days by now, and the Dragon Age defenders are desperately clinging to the fact that the game is the #1 top seller on Steam, which, oh wait, what's this? Would you look at that? 2 days after release, and Dragon Age is no longer the top seller on Steam.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
So basically, what we've got going on here is that the game spiked, predictably, on release. The cultural auto-intake crowd, those people who just can't help themselves when a new game comes out with a familiar title, they have to buy it. Those people grabbed it up, but sales have now slowed down, and they were quickly overtaken by Call of Duty again. Hell, look at this, Monster Hunter Wilds, which doesn't even release for almost 4 months, is only 1 spot behind Dragon Age, and at this rate, it will clearly overtake the Veilguard very soon.
No. It's not true. That's impossible!
But you know what? Maybe I should be kinder to Dragon Age fans, because clearly the majority of them have at least some common sense. If you look over at the Metacritic score for this game, things aren't looking too swell. Naturally, the so-called game journalists gave the game stellar scores because they love to kiss corporate ass. But the gamer score is atrocious. Those who played the game are absolutely loathing it. Dragon Age is getting destroyed. We can debate whether or not this constitutes an underperformance or an outright failure. That's a semantic argument, but at the end of the day, what seems quite clear is that the game is dead in the water.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter or X, or whatever you want to refer to it as these days. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But alright, let's talk about Dragon Age getting its ass kicked because it most assuredly is. Everyone on the other side of the aisle was celebrating massively when the game hit 70,000 players on launch day. They thought this was a sign that the game was a big hit, and now the game has actually had their numbers go up a bit. They've hit a 77,000 max concurrent player count. One of the main talking points that I've been hearing is how supposedly Dragon Age the Veilguard has expanded their player base, because if you look at the Steam chart for the last release, Dragon Age Inquisition only hit about 5,000 players on Steam. The problem with this talking point is that Inquisition originally came out 10 years ago, but it wasn't made available on Steam until June of 2020, so there was no hype for it at all, and you can see how these bozos are trying desperately to find some angle that they can cling to in order to make it sound like the Veilguard is a success. But as Nuri said on Twitter, this means nothing. Inquisition didn't release on day 1 on Steam. It was put on the platform years after release. They know they can't compete with games like Baldur's Gate 3, so they pick imaginary fights with themselves. But if you want to see how Dragon Age is doing, you really should compare it to Baldur's Gate 3, which has been out for over a year now, and at the time of this recording, it currently has more players playing it than Dragon Age, which is extraordinarily pathetic. And at its peak, Baldur's Gate had damn near 900,000 players. Or we can compare it to Elden Ring, which is also in the same genre, and that one got 950,000 players. Those are the numbers that a game with the pedigree of Dragon Age ought to be getting, but it isn't happening, and word of mouth is not going to help them here. The score for the gamers on Metacritic is a pathetic 3.5 out of 10. Let's look at some of the commentary on there to see what people are saying about this turd. This guy wrote, "The writing is atrocious. What happened to the dark theme? Combat is fun at first, then gets extremely repetitive. The enemies just feel like a giant damage sponge with no depth to difficulty. Graphics are too cartoony and reminds me of WoW. Feels like they are constantly forcing 21st century agendas down your throat in a game that should be about fantasies and magic. The dialogue ruins the immersion." And then this guy was generous and gave it a 2 out of 10. He said, "A boring story, cartoonish graphics, and a primitive combat system are not what Dragon Age wants to see." And then this guy said, "Just absolute garbage. Even if we set aside the down-your-throat woke ideology, the game itself is half-assed. The mechanics are so-so, the depth is non-existent, the graphics are great. If it was 2017, honestly just absolute trash. I regret getting it. The reason it gets a 2 instead of a 0 is simply because of the name Dragon Age." And then this dude hit them with a 0 out of 10, saying, "Bioware misgendered their own game and franchise. Just an HR training session on pronouns, gender ideology, and propaganda. This game is as much of a refraction from form as Sacred 3 is from Sacred 2. In regards to all media forms now, MEGA, make entertainment great again." And then there's this. "One of the most glaring issues is the repetitive combat. Every fight feels like a copy-paste of the last one with little variation in enemy types or combat mechanics. Instead of offering strategic depth or challenging encounters, the combat boils down to button mashing through waves of uninspired enemies. You get the idea. The game sounds boring as hell, and these reviews are really going to damage the game's chances at breaking through and making its money back on its massive budget. I still suspect that we will get the announcement that the game sold 1 million copies in its first week or so, and the journalists of course are going to celebrate and act like this is a major milestone, but they still need well over 4 times that number at full price. They have to sell these games at full price, 4 times that number, before discounts in order to be a success, and I don't see that happening at all. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of this flushed turd of a game into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.